All right. Beware of dream assassins. So dream assassins are people who you share with, and subconsciously, you might know that is not the right person to share with. And what happens is when we're learning to become a creative or a writer, we're stepping into a new identity, right? And that is scary to our survival nervous system, and it wants to keep us safe how we've been. And so sometimes we're gonna do something like talk about a really big dream with a dream assassin. And these aren't bad people, they're just people who don't understand it. And the way you can tell if they're a dream assassin is if they're trying to keep you safe, right? So I see this a lot like with parental relationships. So especially for me, I can even say with my own family. They're like, why would you leave a corporate job? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? I was crying every day I was supposed to go into work. I was physically sick. I was like not able to sustain that. But they're like, you need, this steady job. And they wanted to keep me safe, right? In their version of me saying safe, I was sick and I was going through mental atrophy and I was never gonna be happy in a non-creative job. And so if you have somebody in your life who has never done a creative thing in their life and they just don't get it, you're gonna share after you've done the thing. You're not gonna share before or while it's in process or while you're refining it or whatever. You're gonna say, I finished a manuscript, boom, here you go. And then they can say something about it. But I would argue, depending on the person, maybe they don't even see the manuscript. It just depends on the person. Another way you can identify dream assassins is if they are not necessarily following their own dream. So if you don't see them having any area of passion in their life that they're pursuing, even if it's just an extracurricular or something that they're super nerded out about and engaged in, they may be in a stage of their life where they're more concerned about safety or security or their family or something else, and they just are not in the position to support you in the way that you need for a creative career. And so if they're not following their own dreams or passions and they have just resigned and given up and said, I'm just gonna do this for the rest of my life, you go out, and what happens is you live your life and your dream, and you're actually going to inspire them to break out from where they are. But it is very hard for you to move forward when there's people who want to keep you where you are. So just kind of keep in mind as you're building these relationships, and every one of you is going to talk to a dream assassin at some point, and that's fine. We all do it. It's a learning curve for us. That's one of the things that your relationships do is they teach you about yourself. And you're gonna learn to identify them sooner, and you're gonna learn they're after the fact people instead of in process people. And you're gonna learn, okay, I've got a better hold on who I should talk to now. And that's just part of having a writing career. Your support is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I think in this one we even talk about how it doesn't have to be human, right? Like you can have support from everywhere. Non-writers, readers, writers. No one person is able to provide everything you need. You should not expect your significant other to also be your critique partner and your cheerleader and all of this stuff. It's just too much to ask for. And if you have a good support system that's varied of 5 or 6 people, if one of them has to drop out or they, move to a foreign country and you're never gonna see them again, or they're getting married and they're lost in wedding planning for 9 months, whatever it is, you've still got people who can help you. And so it's important to diversify your group and have at least 5 to 10 people that you can count on for different things. And again, it's gonna be some people are good for one thing, some people are better at another thing, one person's your celebration friend. You're gonna have support in all different areas, right? You're gonna need your emotional support, productivity support for those days when you're just like, ugh, I can't write another word, this is so hard. And then business support for when you actually choose to go out and start making money out of this, if you choose to. But I'm gonna start with emotional support, and I kind of went through and tailored these for the different stages of your career, right? So at the very beginning, you always need emotional support, and you're always gonna need that throughout. So this is like the foundational place that you're gonna start with. And then we're going to get to productivity, which is when you're starting to write more, and then you're going to need more, and we're going to build upon each one. For emotional support, you're going to need cheerleaders. And these people do not have to be writers. They do not have to be readers. They just have to be pro-you, right? And so I have friends who I'm still friends with from corporate who don't do creative things, but they are so excited for me, and they are so convinced that I'm doing something important, and they are like, wow, I can't believe that you get to do this, right? And they don't know anything about the industry, so they don't understand how delusional you have to be sometimes. And so I need their naivete to like push me forward, right? And it could be your little nieces or nephews who are like, oh my God, you wrote a book? That's so cool, I wanna write a book, right? Then they're your little cheerleaders. There's cheerleaders everywhere. You can find them on the internet. Be selective about your internet friends. And that leads into readers. Not all of your cheerleaders are gonna be readers, okay? So one of my best cheerleaders has been my friend since high school, and he's actually a sound guy who travels all around the world with musicians, right? He's not a strong reader. He's never been a strong reader. And I would never ask him to sign up for my newsletter or read a manuscript or anything. But he's also in the creative industry, in the creative world. And so when I have a hard time with like a business aspect or something, I can call on him and say, hey, and he gets it. You know, we can just talk about it over a drink and it just feels better. So they don't all have to be readers, but it's never too soon to start finding readers. And it's scary to show your work at first. It is terrifying. But the first person you want to show it to is someone who you trust. And what I would ask for is just a positivity pass. And if you don't know what that is, it just says, I wrote this. It's new for me, I'm scared, I just wanna know what you liked about it and hear if you think I'm doing anything really well. And that's a gentle way to step into your critique career. And sometimes you just need somebody to tell you you don't suck, right? And so a positivity pass is really helpful for that. And then mentors. Mentors are important at every stage of your career, but I want you to know that the mentor relationship and the mentee relationship is energetically reciprocal and symbiotic, okay? This mentor over here, she's gonna see the potential in the newbie on the other side, right? She's gonna be able to educate her on aspects of the business. She's gonna be able to help her through things. And she's gonna be able to provide opportunities, right? So like I talked about Mary Lane, she helped me get into the magazine, right? Which then helped me get up to Jane Friedman, which helped me get to the Nebulas, which helped, you know, like every mentor is gonna help you level up and open doors for you. But we need those mentees bad because the mentees are still excited. They're not jaded. They don't want to like give up or anything. They are enthusiastic. And when I am burned out, I can tell you nothing gets me more recharged than a good coaching session with a client who comes out and they're just like, I'm going to go tackle the world. I'm going to write 50 chapters. And I'm like, okay, well, I need that. So let me borrow a little of yours, right? So they feed their energy into me. They also challenge the mentors because when you teach someone, you have to know something in an entirely different way than when you do it, right? And so mentors level up their craft and their skill as they transmute it to other people and translate it for other people. So they're gonna provide challenge. And then, yes, just the optimism. You can never get enough because after you've done it a while, it's hard to maintain that just ebullient baby writer feeling. It's a great feeling. Another caveat, beware of parents and significant others for a solid part of your support system. You know your relationships, so if this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But both of those relationships, the person you wake up next to you and the person who gave life to you, there is a lot of expectations on those roles already. And they're never gonna be objective about you, okay? Like never, there's no way. Like I could have written things backwards, upside down, no sense, and my mom would have been like, it's so good. And I'm like, okay, but it's not, it's garbage. And so they can't be objective, right? the person who wakes up next to you, they can be really protective of you, right? So when I was querying and I was getting rejected, the guy I was dating at the time, I like woke up to rejections and he's like, they didn't even take time to read it. And I'm like, ooh, we can't get this mad about the 100 rejections that I feel coming, so like, let's just calm down here, buddy, right? So those roles have a lot of, we could say, baggage that go with them. So when you're looking to build your creative support system, I recommend friends, acquaintances, other writers, and just let this be what it is. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then when you're done with something, go tell them, or if you do a big, like, celebrate with them, and, you know, bring them to your book launch. That should be important.